Hey, welcome to How to Build Your Own Home. This is Keith. I want to talk about insulation, and I'll just show you what I do on various aspects of this home. So let's go in and let's talk insulation real quick. Okay, I do a lot of attic trusses, as you know, if you've been watching my channel for a while. Over 500 videos, and I get people say, I've been binge watching your videos. Wow, 500 videos. How long do you think it would take to get through 500 videos, Caden? Months. But people do that. Anyway, this is an attic truss, and with attic trusses, you've got some dead space, all right? And that dead space is separated by a 2x4. Well, most production builders will just put some bats on this particular area and call it quits. I don't like to do that. Why? Can you guess why? Please make a comment as to why I don't like to insulate between the dead space and the living space, especially with only a 2x4. Well, look at all the place you have to do build-ins, all right, throughout this entire home. Build-ins, build-ins, build-ins everywhere. Every room upstairs has the potential for build-ins, so why lose that potential? If I were to do bats in here and then cut it out and put the build-ins in there, I'd have some cold elements and hot elements working against that structure. So it's a little more complicated, but I get my insulator to do it the way I want. I actually net and blow. I just staple some netting all the way here and over there, and they literally fill this up, and it insulates the roof pretty well. And then they net and blow. Sometimes it's a combination of bats and net and blow, and right here you'll see it's a combination. The main wall on the exterior is a 2x6 wall. That's where you want most of the insulation, really, is inside that wall. And then here it's just blown in because we got the garage below us. That's a cold environment, so we want to insulate the floor. So I got a combination of insulation here, and then the regular wall system here, this is a net and blow. I don't like using bats. Of course, you see it in some spots up here because it's just really convenient to be able to put a bat in here, and block off a couple of areas. But when it comes to the straight up wall, I'd love net and blow because I have it so that it's really kind of a protruding out just a little bit. So when the drywall gets on there, I get a little bit of compression on there, and I make sure that I have a seal. I don't want any gaps and voids, especially between the drywall and the insulation. I want all that nice and firm all the way up against the drywall. Let's go downstairs in the garage. I'm going to go down into the crawl space, and you know I don't like too much about closed cell foam. Well, here's a place where I do use closed cell foam. So let's go down in the crawl space. Actually, on the way down to the crawl space, we're going to stop in the garage. I lied. I do use bats. I use them in the garage oftentimes. Again, bats are a little more affordable than net and blow. So in the garage where it's not really that conditioned of a space, although you do want it insulated, especially if there's living above, which you see here. I've got net and blow above, and then I've got bats in the walls here. And I had to save some money somewhere because I had to do something and spend a little more money in another spot, which is the crawl space. Let's go down there. Okay, this is the spot where I tend to use closed cell foam. I'm not a fan of it, especially if I'm trying to protect a roof or something like that. Water doesn't work through it. It's not vapor permeable. Closed cell foam, hence the name closed cell foam. So here I do use it on the crawl space. Here I actually did a blow-in rigid closed cell foam in the crawl space. Now why do I do that? Well, you've got gravity constantly pulling at insulation. And how many times, if you've been around, like I have around construction projects or old homes, and you go to a crawl space and you see all that insulation just sagging there and not doing anything at all. And this here stops that. Plus, it's got a much higher R value, and it adds for a better rigidity for the floor. There's a lot of pluses to it. I know a lot of people like closed cell foam for a lot more applications than I use, but here it actually worked very, very well. And it's just a phenomenal product when you use it for, just about any area. But again, I'm very, very choice on where I want to use it. It can be more money. But this was the best way to insulate this crawl space. And you notice that we have them spray it down, and it came down about 2 feet from the top of the foundation, 2 feet down, because that's where my grate is. That's going to stop any wicking from coming into the home. Am I too worried about this home? No, because look at the wall. The wall here is 18 inches thick. This is the old foundation. This is the new foundation. So rather than tear out the old foundation, which was like $25,000, $30,000 to save this client, I actually had the engineer approve the building of a new foundation, tying it into the existing footing, and thereby attaching it to this old one. It was still fine, but this actually shored this home. If there's an earthquake or something, this home's not going to go anywhere. If they ever have to demo this in 1,000 years, the person who's going to demo it's going to do a lot of swearing and cussing because this thing is not going anywhere. Anyway, I wanted to talk about insulation, give you the things I do. Again, I'm a working contractor showing you what I do. This is how to build your own home, just talking about what I did on insulation.